I'm back home, back in Italy, and the winter is coming, so I am preparing for that, bracing for that, as they say. And today I wanted to film a bit of a different video. We're gonna talk about anxiety. Wow, great. I have had a really bad bout of it for the past 6 months, and it's not something that I have experienced before. Compared to most of the world, I have a pretty damn good life, and people might say you have nothing to be anxious about, what are you talking about? But again, like anxiety, like all emotions, they don't care about how good you have it compared to other people. They just happen, because we are all human. I truly enjoy stacking wood. I know that a lot of people find it boring, but I find it very calmly and I really enjoy when it grows. But anyhow, let's talk about the reasons why I think I've had such an awful bout of anxiety. And just to describe it, like different people mean different things. For me, it's like being a prisoner in my own head, and it's the worst kind of prison because you can't get away from it, because wherever you go, you bring your head and your thoughts with you. And I experienced, anxiety attacks. I think that's what they were, and sleepless nights. I think that before I had this house, I just would get distracted from things and I would just run away from stuff. And now I don't want to do that anymore, and I can't do that anymore because I have a place to stay and I love it here and I want to build something. So my coping mechanism that worked so well in my 20s isn't working now anymore. And so my brain is like, let's find a new coping method. The second one, which I think is a massive one for a lot of us, is just the state of the world and how hopeless it feels. And it's not just the events that happened, because humans have always done really awful stuff and there's always been awful things happening. It's more like the sense of hopelessness and the fact that people can't get together for good. It feels like everybody's just fending for themselves, and we are very detached from one another and from our humanity, and the intolerance growing. It's more that really gets to me. It's more that makes me feel very hopeless, because I'm like, if we're not united, we really don't have any hope for things to get any better. And that, Jane Goodall died, was it last month? And one thing that she said is like, do not lose hope, because if you lose hope, then we really are kind of fucked. And so, if you don't have hope, then you don't act. And I really don't want to lose my hope, but it's really hard. And, then you see stuff and you want to do something, but you feel hopeless and helpless. And you're like, what can I do? And this is one thing that I always felt, but lately it's been really heavy on me, because going to the third point, I'm in my 30s now. I'm going to be in my mid-30s next year. And I think something changed in my brain, because I became much more anxious, much more fearful, I had more self-doubt in me. And, in your 20s, you feel a bit invincible, like you're never going to die. And in your 30s, you start understanding that you have a limited amount of time, and you're like, I have to get the most out of it, and I have to do all those things, especially now that you feel like you're young, you still have your body going, so you need to make all the things that you maybe not going to be able to do in 15 years time. Then of course I have a few things happen in my personal life which I'm not going to talk about, but yeah, it's like a soup of stuff that created a bomb, and each one of us are probably going to have its unique sets of circumstances. I feel like I'm doing better, but I'm like, I don't know if this is going to last very long, especially as the winter is coming. We're getting less sun, and I struggle with not having sun rays on me. Like, I get seasonal depression quite easily. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, this winter. But again, I think that the older you get and the more you experience those things, the more you get like resilient. I've left the corn to dry for a few weeks, next to the wood stove, and now I am trying to degrain it. It's really hard. I did see that you can use two and kind of rub them together to make it easier, but it's hard. I think my thumb are gonna be sore by tonight. But anyway, the first thing I wanted to mention that works for me anyway is finding what it was that triggered your anxiety, because sometimes I can go on hours or days with this feeling of like clenching in the stomach and heaviness in my chest without really knowing why I have it. So I like to just stop and kind of go back in time and figure out what was that made it start. The same way that when you find a bruise in your body and you're like, how the hell did I get that? You go back in time and try and remember what happened. Same thing with anxiety. And sometimes we get worried because of big things, but sometimes it's not a big thing, but the feeling is the same. And so I feel like once I know why it all started, then I can kind of go like, okay, this is why, and then go on with my day. Because I don't know, for me anyway, I feel that anxiety comes up when something happens and I just brush it off without really recognizing how it made me feel. Let's say I saw something online and made me feel sad. I don't really sit with that feeling. I just go on with my day, and then anxiety comes back, be like, hello, you didn't recognize how you felt at this time, and now I'm coming back in the form of anxiety. So until you can point out that made you feel sad, and you're gonna keep feeling anxious. Using my hands to do repetitive works really help, but it needs to be something that doesn't use too much my creative energy. So for example, if you gave me a blank paper to draw on it, or a big piece of cake, and you told me do something with it, it would just be too overwhelming because there's too many things that you could do with it. And when I'm having an anxious day, that doesn't help at all. I need you to tell me exactly what to do, and it needs to be very methodic. So for that, knitting and crochet has been so good. It really helps quieting my thoughts. And because, with knitting, you need to count your stitches, and you most often follow a pattern. So you need to kind of know where you are with the rows. And also, if you do color work, you need to follow a chart. So for me, this combination is like bingo. I cannot think about anything else. I need to be concentrating on what I'm doing. I'm currently learning how to do Feral Isle, and I'm learning that through Craftsy, which is the sponsor of this video. Craftsy is an online community and resource where millions of crafters, makers, and DIY enthusiasts find creative inspiration, advance their skills, and learn new ones along the way. Craftsy offers more than 2,000 classes in more than 20 different categories like crochet, knitting, painting, drawing, quilting, sewing, cooking, baking, and cake decorating, and many more. You can find classes from award-winning instructors who share their creative wisdom as they provide step-by-step demonstrations in a friendly and clear way. I did mention at the start of the year in another video that I wanted to try color work, and I took this class where I went through mosaic crochet, intarsia, and Feral Isle, which I'm doing now. I have tried the mosaic, did I say crochet? Knitting. And I've done a swatch for that, which I'm really proud of because I didn't have any color work experience before that. I really like that for every class you also often get like a little project that you can do to really learn the method. The classes are broken down into easy to follow lessons, so you can watch, stop, and restart at your own pace. And new classes are added regularly, so you can never run out of inspiration. They have classes for every level, so whether you are a beginner or an experienced creative, you will find something for you. I genuinely get excited when I scroll through Craftsy library about all the projects that are in there, and I think you might enjoy it as well. Right now, Craftsy is running a Black Friday special, so by clicking in the link in the description bar, you will get the first year of Craftsy Premium for only $1.49. I'm gonna keep knitting this Fair Isle motif because it is absolutely addictive, and I have on my knitting jacket. This is a jacket that I found at a charity shop in Edinburgh, and it's perfect because it has a pocket here where I can just put my ball of yarn, and look at that. Perfect setup. I often heard that going for walks can help your anxiety. I'm gonna be honest, for me, it absolutely makes it worse, because when you're walking, you go slow and you have time to just have your thoughts spinning and spinning and spinning. And I know that they say that you should concentrate on your surroundings and your sounds and the smell, but if I'm having a particularly bad day, I am not able to do that. So unless I go for a walk listening to very heavy, loud metal music, walking does not help. What does help is athletic exercise, no, aerobic exercise, really high intensity aerobic exercise. Like, for example, going for a run, but going for a very fast run. Because when you're running fast, the only thing that you can think of, other than why am I doing this, is you're breathing. So you have no space in your head to be thinking about something else. And something else that has really helped, and don't laugh at me, okay? I know this is gonna sound ridiculous, but line dancing. I always thought that line dancing was kind of a cheesy thing to do, but I don't know why. One night I just thought, okay, let's try this thing out. And there's something with the combination of moving your body, listening to cheesy country music, and having to think about your steps that just, again, you have to be concentrated on that. You can't think about anything else, otherwise you're gonna mess it up. So if I'm having a bad day, I put the country music up and I have like 3 songs that I kind of go through until I feel my thoughts kind of settling. And if I'm having a better day, then I can go ahead, learn a new one. So then the next time I can add one to the rota. I know it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I mean, if you're desperate and you have nothing to lose, then give it a go and let me know if it works. I'm gonna make myself a risotto with the pumpkin from my own garden. I'm quite pleased because this year the pumpkin came quite well, whilst last year they struggled. Ugh. And I think next year I'm gonna try and plant the same variety and lots of it, because this does keep well in winter. This tip will not work for everybody, because I know that not everybody likes cooking, but I do find that if I'm having an anxious day and I pick up one of my recipe books and I choose a particularly complex recipe, that does keep me busy for an hour and a half, because you need to pay attention to what you're doing and check that the food isn't burning, and that gives me enough space for my thoughts to quiet down. Plus, of course, it gives you something nice to eat at the end of it, which is always a plus. That risotto was chef's kiss, so good. And we're coming towards the end of this video, and I do have one last thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's when you're in social settings, do acknowledge that you're feeling anxious if you are, but don't dwell on it too much. Don't talk about it all the time, I think there's definitely a sweet spot between not talking about it at all and not letting people know, and then talking about it a little bit too much. So that's something else that I try and be aware of. But anyhow, I hope that this video was helpful. Please share your experience, and I shall see you very soon.